Have you ever wondered why some guys with average looks, average money, get women obsessed with them, while others, despite doing everything right, end up ignored or even disrespected? Here's the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to tell you. The key isn't being nice, being rich, or even looking good. It's learning how to ignore her. That's right. If you want to be the man who has women chasing him instead of chasing them, you need to master the dark psychology of ignoring a woman. It's powerful and it works. The guys who get it, they're the ones with options. The ones who don't, they're forever stuck in the friend zone. Want to know how? Stick around. This might be the most important thing you ever hear. Most men are stuck in the same cycle, chasing women, over-texting, and constantly wondering why they're always being ignored. The truth is, if you're doing what every other guy is doing, you'll keep getting the same frustrating results. In this video, I'm going to reveal the art and dark psychology of ignoring a woman. And trust me, it's not what you think. Every second of this video is packed with powerful insights that most men never learn. So, don't skip any part, because if you miss even one, you'll be left in the same place you've always been. And stick around until the end for a bonus lesson that will completely change the way you approach women and relationships. Watch till the very end. You'll thank yourself later. Number 1. Understand why ignoring works. Let's kick this off by understanding why ignoring a woman works so well in today's world. This isn't just some random tactic. It's a psychological principle rooted deep in human behavior, and in particular, female psychology. Look, here's the reality. Women are constantly being chased. Think about it. The average woman in today's world, especially if she's even moderately attractive, gets bombarded with attention all the time. Every time she opens her Instagram, there are hundreds of likes and dozens of thirsty DMs from guys who just can't help themselves. Every time she goes out, she's approached by men hoping to get her number or take her out. Now, what happens when you come along and you're just another guy trying to get her attention? You blend in with all the noise. In fact, you become forgettable. Why would she even care about you when she's already getting more attention than she knows what to do with? But here's where things get interesting. When you ignore her, you stand out. You do something that almost no other guy is doing. You signal that you're not like the others. You're not falling into her trap of free validation. We've all seen that one guy who's constantly chasing a woman, commenting on her posts, liking everything, texting her non-stop. And what does he get? Absolutely nothing in return. But the guy who's too busy living his life, who doesn't have time to sit around worshipping her, that's the guy who's on her mind. Why? Because ignoring triggers a natural human response. We want what we can't have. Think about it like this. You don't value something that's easily available. If you could have anything you wanted at any time, it wouldn't be special. Scarcity drives value. Ignoring her creates scarcity, and that scarcity makes you valuable in her eyes. And let's be real here. It's not just about women. This principle works in business, in friendships, and in life. People value what is scarce. People value what they have to work for. But here's the part most guys miss. Ignoring doesn't mean disappearing off the face of the earth or ghosting her. It's about creating the right amount of distance. You have to be strategic. You're not trying to be rude or disrespectful. You're signaling that you're a high-value man who isn't chasing her like every other guy. You're playing the long game, and when done right, it always works. Number 2, build your value first. But let me be crystal clear here. Ignoring a woman only works if you've built value first. I can't stress this enough. If you're sitting on your couch all day, scrolling through Instagram, eating junk food, and playing video games, then ignoring her won't do anything. Why? Because you haven't given her anything to ignore. You have no value. And that's the first mistake most guys make. They try to ignore women before they've built themselves into someone worth paying attention to. Let's say you walk into a room full of women and you're out of shape, dressed in old clothes, with no direction in life. Do you really think that ignoring any of those women is going to make them chase you? Of course not. You'll just be another invisible guy they don't care about. But flip the script. What if you're a guy who's well-dressed, in shape, confident, and clearly living with purpose? Now, when you walk into that room and you don't give her attention, she's wondering who you are. Why? Because you've got something going for you. If you want to play the game of ignoring, you have to make yourself worth ignoring in the first place. And this means leveling up in every area of your life. Hit the gym. Get your finances in order. Start working on your passion. Develop hobbies that make you interesting. Women can sense when a man has his life together, and they are naturally attracted to men who have purpose. When you're a high-value man, you don't need to chase women. They will come to you. But here's where it gets even more powerful. When you have your life together, you won't even want to chase them. You'll be too busy focusing on yourself and your goals. Think about any successful man you know. Do you think they spend their days swiping through dating apps, desperately hoping for a match? Absolutely not. They're too busy crushing their goals, building their empire, and working on themselves. And guess what? Women are naturally drawn to that energy. They want to be part of that success. The more you focus on yourself, the less you'll need to focus on her, and that's when she'll start focusing on you. Number 3. Master control over your emotions. This one is huge, and I can't overemphasize its importance. If you can't control your emotions, you've already lost. Period. Women will test you constantly. It's in their nature. They'll throw little jabs, say things that push your buttons, or act in ways that seem designed to make you react. And here's where most guys fail. They fall into the trap. They get emotional, they lose control, they argue, they get defensive. And the moment you do that, you've lost all power in the relationship. Women are wired to test your emotional stability. They do this unconsciously to see if you're a man who can handle pressure, who won't crumble at the first sign of trouble. If you can stay cool, calm, and collected, if you can ignore the drama and not get pulled into the emotional chaos, you immediately stand out from 99% of men. Have you ever been in a situation where a woman said something to trigger you and you couldn't help but react? Maybe she called you out in front of others, or she was acting disrespectful and you felt the need to defend yourself. What happened? You probably got emotional, things escalated, and you walked away feeling worse than before. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine she says or does something to push your buttons, and instead of reacting, you just smile, shrug it off, and move on like it doesn't bother you. She'll be confused. Why? Because she expected you to react. When you don't, you've just flipped the script. The power of indifference. Women are drawn to men who are indifferent to the drama. If you can remain emotionally stable, no matter what she says or does, you immediately separate yourself from every other guy out there. And here's the kicker. When she realizes she can't control you emotionally, she becomes more attracted to you. Why? Because emotional control is a sign of masculine strength, and women are naturally drawn to that. Men who have control over their emotions are seen as leaders, and leaders are always attractive. Number 4. Eliminate desperation. Desperation is one of the biggest killers of attraction. The moment she senses that you're desperate for her attention, she's gone. Why? Because desperation is rooted in scarcity. It screams, "You're my only option." And that's a huge turn-off for women. Women want to be with men who have options, men who don't need them. When you're desperate, you're essentially telling her that you have no other choices, and that's the fastest way to make her lose interest. Think about the typical nice guy. He texts her all the time, always checks in to see how she's doing, and constantly tells her how amazing she is. And what happens? She's not interested. She'll take the attention, sure, but she won't be attracted to him. Why? Because his desperation is painfully obvious. On the flip side, the guy who doesn't seem to care as much, the guy who's busy living his life and doesn't have time to text her every minute, that's the guy she's thinking about. That's the guy she's chasing. If you want to eliminate desperation, you need to change your mindset. You need to stop seeing her as your only option. When you have a mindset of abundance, when you know that there are plenty of women out there, you won't be desperate for her attention. And here's the beautiful part. The less desperate you are, the more attractive you become. Think of it like this. If you walk into a store and there's only one pair of shoes left, you might feel desperate to get them. But if the store is filled with shoes, you'll take your time, explore your options, and make a choice when you're ready. The same goes for women. When you have options, when you're not fixated on just one, you have the freedom to choose, and that freedom makes you incredibly attractive. Number 5. Use subtlety, not neglect. This is where most guys get it wrong. They think that ignoring a woman means completely cutting her off, going radio silent, and hoping she comes running back. That's not how it works. Ignoring isn't about being rude or neglectful, it's about using subtlety. You have to pull back in a way that makes her wonder, that makes her work for your attention, without feeling like you're just disappearing. Picture this. You've been texting a girl regularly, but suddenly you start taking longer to reply. You don't respond right away, but you don't ignore her completely either. You're busy. You've got things going on. When you finally do respond, you keep it short and to the point. What happens? She starts to wonder why you're not as available as you used to be. She'll start thinking about you more, and that's exactly what you want. The key here is to be subtle. You're not ghosting her. You're just making her work a little harder for your attention. Ignoring her completely is a rookie mistake. It's all about balance. You want to be just distant enough to make her curious, but not so distant that she thinks you've lost interest. When you master this balance, you'll have her chasing you, wondering what she needs to do to get your full attention again. Number 6. The power of silence. If you take away just one thing from this entire video, let it be this. Silence is your greatest weapon. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, texting, and trying to get attention, silence is something that people aren't used to. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It makes them think, and most importantly, it makes them wonder about you. When you stop talking, when you don't immediately respond to every message, when you leave her waiting for your reply, you create a void. And here's the thing. Women hate that void. They're not used to it. Most men are too eager to fill every silence with conversation, trying to impress her or get her attention. But when you're the guy who can comfortably sit in that silence, you become mysterious. And here's what you need to understand. Mystery creates attraction. Think about the last time you sent a text and someone didn't respond right away. How did it make you feel? You probably started wondering what they were doing, why they weren't replying, and you couldn't help but check your phone every few minutes. Now imagine a woman who's used to being showered with constant attention. When you don't respond right away, you stand out. She starts to think about you. You're no longer just another guy trying to get her attention. You're the one she's waiting for. The power of silence isn't just about waiting to respond to texts. It's about learning to be comfortable with not giving her your full attention. If you're always available, you become predictable. But when you create gaps in the conversation, you give her space to think about you. And when she's thinking about you, she's building her attraction to you. Silence is your tool to create intrigue, and intrigue is what keeps women coming back for more. But remember, there's an art to using silence. You don't want to overdo it and make her think you've lost interest completely. Key is to find a balance between giving her attention and pulling back. The moments when you go silent are the moments when you hold the most power in the relationship. And the best part, you don't have to do anything. Just let the silence work for you. Number 7, create boundaries. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is not having clear boundaries. And let me tell you this, if you don't set boundaries, you will always be taken for granted. Women respect men who know their worth and aren't afraid to walk away when those boundaries are crossed. A man without boundaries is a man who is easily manipulated, and that's the last thing you want to be. Boundaries are essential in every aspect of life, but they're especially important when it comes to relationships. Here's the truth. Women will test you. They'll push your buttons to see how far they can go. And if you don't have firm boundaries in place, they'll walk all over you. But when you set clear boundaries, when you show her that you won't tolerate disrespect, flakiness, or games, you immediately earn her respect. Let's say you make plans with a woman and she cancels at the last minute. How do most guys react? They make excuses for her. They say, "Oh, it's fine," and then they reschedule, hoping she'll follow through next time. But what does this tell her? It tells her that you'll accept flaky behavior and that you don't value your own time. Now imagine you respond differently. Imagine you say, "I don't tolerate last-minute cancellations. Let me know if you're serious about meeting up." Boom. Just like that, you've set a boundary. She knows that you're not a guy who will put up with disrespect, and you've immediately gained her respect. Boundaries are about more than just saying no. They're about protecting your time, your energy, and your self-respect. When you set boundaries, you're telling her that you are the priority, not her. And here's the crazy part. Women are attracted to men who put themselves first. It's counterintuitive, but the more you respect yourself, the more she will respect you. Boundaries also create a sense of scarcity. When you set clear limits on how much time, attention, and energy you're willing to give, you become more valuable in her eyes. She knows that your time isn't free, and she'll have to earn it. This makes you a challenge, and women love a challenge. If you want to be the man who has women chasing him, you need to master the art of creating and enforcing boundaries. Number 8. Withdraw attention gradually. The mistake most men make when it comes to ignoring women is that they either go all in or do nothing at all. But here's the thing. Ignoring isn't about going from 100 to 0 overnight. It's about gradually withdrawing your attention in a way that makes her notice the difference. If you suddenly disappear without any warning, she'll think you've lost interest and move on. But if you slowly pull back, little by little, she'll start to wonder what's happening, and that's when you've got her hooked. Women are extremely attuned to changes in behavior. If you've been giving her a lot of attention, texting her frequently, and suddenly stop, she'll immediately notice. But instead of cutting her off completely, try this. Start taking a little longer to respond. Don't always be available to hang out, and when you do talk to her, keep the conversation shorter and to the point. This creates an air of mystery and makes her work harder for your attention. Let's say you've been talking to a woman and she's been giving you mixed signals. Instead of chasing her and trying to get more of her time, you start pulling back. You don't text her as much. When she asks to hang out, you're busy. What happens next? She starts wondering why you're not as available as you used to be. She starts thinking about you more. That's the power of gradually withdrawing your attention. It creates curiosity, and curiosity leads to attraction. Women want to feel like they're winning your attention, not that you're giving it away for free. When you pull back gradually, you're making her realize that your time is valuable. And the more valuable your time is, the more she'll want to be part of it. The beauty of this strategy is that it keeps the dynamic exciting. She'll never know when you're going to pull back or when you're going to give her attention, and this unpredictability keeps her on her toes. Women love the thrill of the chase, and when you master the art of withdrawing attention, you become the prize she's chasing. Number 9. Focus on purpose over women. If you take nothing else from this video, let it be this. Your purpose is everything. Women should never be the focus of your life. Your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions should be. When you're a man on a mission, women will naturally gravitate towards you. But the moment you make a woman the center of your world, you lose your power. Women are attracted to men who are driven, who are going somewhere in life, and who have a clear vision of what they want. If you're chasing women, you're telling her that you have nothing better to do with your time. But if you're focused on your purpose, whether it's your career, your fitness, or your personal growth, you become magnetic. Women want to be part of a man's success story. They want to feel like they're part of something bigger than just a relationship. Think about any man who's successful in life. Do you think he spends his time chasing women, texting them all day, and making them the focus of his life? Of course not. He's too busy working on his goals, building his empire, and becoming the best version of himself. And because of that, women are naturally drawn to him. They see his drive, his ambition, and they want to be part of that energy. Key point: when you focus on your purpose, everything else falls into place. You won't need to chase women because they'll be chasing you. Women want to be with a man who has a mission, who's going somewhere, and who doesn't need them to feel fulfilled. The more you invest in yourself, the more attractive you become. And the best part? When you're focused on your purpose, you won't even have time to chase women. You'll be too busy living your best life, and that's when women will start showing up. Number 10. Apply Stoicism to relationships. If there's one philosophy that every man should adopt in his relationships, it's Stoicism. Stoicism teaches you to control your emotions, to focus on what you can control, and to remain unaffected by external events. And let me tell you this, when you apply Stoicism to your relationships, you become unstoppable. Women are emotional creatures by nature, and they will often test you to see how you react. But when you adopt a Stoic mindset, you remain calm, cool, and collected, no matter what she says or does. You don't get pulled into emotional drama, you don't react to her tests, and you don't let your feelings control you. Instead, you stay grounded in your own value, knowing that you are in control of your emotions. Imagine you're in a situation where a woman is trying to push your buttons. Maybe she says something disrespectful, or she tries to make you jealous. How do most guys react? They get emotional, they argue, they try to prove themselves. But when you're stoic, you don't react. You let her words bounce off you like they're nothing. And guess what? She'll respect you for it. Why? Because she knows she can't control you emotionally. Stoicism gives you an edge that most men don't have. It allows you to remain in control even when things get chaotic. Women are naturally drawn to men who are steady, who don't lose their cool, and who can handle any situation with grace. When you adopt Stoicism in your relationships, you become the rock that women want to lean on. And trust me, there's nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who's in complete control of his emotions. Number 11. Embrace the power of patience. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're already ahead of 99% of men out there. But here's the final lesson, the one that ties everything together. Patience is your greatest weapon. In today's world of instant gratification, most men are impatient. They want results now. They want the girl to fall for them instantly. But the truth is, attraction is a long game. And the man who can wait, the man who can sit back and let things unfold naturally, is the man who always wins. Think about a chess game. The best players aren't the ones who make rash, impulsive moves. They're the ones who are patient, who think several steps ahead, and who wait for the perfect moment to strike. The same is true in relationships. The more patient you are, the more attractive you become. Women are used to men who rush things, who try to force attraction. But the man who can wait? That's the man who stands out. Patience shows that you're in control, that you're not desperate, and that you have a mindset of abundance. When you're patient, you give her time to think about you, to miss you, and to wonder what you're doing. And the more she wonders, the more attracted she becomes. So remember, patience is the key to mastering the art of ignoring a woman. We've covered a lot in this video. If you've stuck around till the end, you're already ahead of most men. You've learned how to use the power of silence, set boundaries, gradually withdraw attention, and adopt a stoic mindset in your relationships. But most importantly, you've learned that ignoring a woman isn't about playing games. It's about controlling your own emotions, focusing on your purpose, and being patient enough to let attraction build naturally. The men who master these skills are the ones who have women chasing them instead of the other way around. If you found value in this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and consider joining our channel membership. Your support allows us to keep creating content like this and make sure it reaches more men who need to hear the truth. Drop a comment below if you're ready to start applying these principles, and let me know which part of the video resonated with you the most.